First off, here we have Pulse and Anxiety, Fear and Hunger OST. This is an LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I am going to explain things in a way that is friendly to laymen. You don't have to be a professional musician to understand what I'm saying. That's my goal here. So if you like that, make sure you're subscribed and you have all that good stuff. There you go. So let's hear it out. We're going to be pausing a lot because it's a live reaction. We're recording this live on stream. Let's see. Okay. We start with this little white noise. It's kind of like a white noise. It's kind of like a background thing. There's a little bit of moaning there in the thing. And of course, we have the signature, every movie trailer that is about action needs to have it. The good old Hollywood, that kind of thing, right? So it's that. It's that simple. It's effective. And it calls your attention. It's brass. Usually it's either a tuba or a trombone that does this. Very bombastic. We still don't have any sort of melody. We're still pretty early on, but this gives, right in your face, calls your attention, and radio sound in it. Yeah, there you go. So there is a faint radio, and it has that thing that, I remember in Silent Hill and PT and Visage that they have those, and it's with these like moans symbolizing like faint death, something that is either happened or happening at a distance. It gives that eerie feeling of everything. No, Ashley, no. Okay, so the bombs are getting faster. Ooh. Okay, let me hear that again. I just want to make sure it wasn't YouTube messing with me. Okay, so last time we did Fear and Hunger, we've seen how the composer, which the composer is Miro Haverinen, he clips things in a very interesting way. Because whenever you have an audio wave, I forgot to open Paint. Whenever you have an audio wave, you will have, for example, this is how it's going to look, and you're going to have your audio wave. It's going to be something, this kind of a visualization of how this looks like, right? And here's your recording of the sound that you have of the audio wave. And usually when you cut the audio wave, there is something interesting that happens in the technical sense. You will see this little bit. The waves are going to be either going up or down. And if you cut an audio wave while it's going up, it's going to create this clipping sound. Like it's going to create like a snap clipping sound. Usually, again, I've said this a couple of times. Usually, the way you want to combat this, if you're doing sound design, is that you want to take the last millisecond or so of this and then just fade it down so that by the time this clip happens, the volume is all the way down. However, Miro seems to not only leave these in, but purposefully keep them in on purpose and amplify them. Because what happened just here is that we had this very high-pitched sound, and the sound wave, for example, let me make a new diagram over here of the sound wave. We are going to have this little square, and the sound wave is designed to get progressively louder, and then probably gonna die down like this, right? So what Miro has done here is that instead of letting the volume rise naturally, as the recording probably did, what he did is that he got this audio file and he cut a moment. He grabbed this section over here of part of the build-up and completely deleted it. And then took the other part and just moved it there. And now you have this disconnect in the audio file that sounds like you just missed a beat. You just missed something there. This is a very subtle thing that he does. It's very, very, very subtle. And it creeps me out. I haven't even played this game, and it's a creepy thing to put. It's a very risky move. And he does this on purpose. This adds to the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure, because these sound like things that shouldn't be there. So let's continue. We still have the... So now we have also moved. One, the radio in the background is now a lot louder. It's no longer in the background, now it's in the foreground or the middle ground, probably. The sounds are getting a little bit more visceral in that sense. And we took the boom that was sounding front and center in your face with the horns, whether it was the tuba or the trombone, and now it's moved to a double bass. The double bass being, of course, the really big cello, really big violin. You have to stand up to play it, right? But that is keeping that same boom happening, but a double bass is a lot more subtle in that sense. Because I've said this many times, brass instruments, trumpets, trombones, tubas, French horns to an extent, can be really, really loud. Unbelievably loud. Strings are capable of being really quiet and somewhat loud. So, there you go. Let's continue. Nice. So yeah, it's sped up now. Kind of like a growl. I think it's kind of like giving it's giving you the vibe that this is the growl of some sort of monster creeping up, more slowly but surely. Not just the growl. It's not just a growl. It's breathing. This kind of rhythm resembles what you would imagine something like a dragon breathing. A monster beyond our comprehension that breathes. Imagine the pulse in the title is referring to your own heartbeat during the game? Probably, yeah, but we'll see. Probably. It's getting louder, more intense. Back to the tuba. Okay, so we are pretty much almost entirely repeating what just happened at the start of the track, except the radio now is louder. So right now, structurally speaking, this has a structure. Right now, we have done A, as in our first set of musical ideas, and yes, even though this is atonal, this still has it still has a structure, I would say. So our first idea that we have here is A, and now we have repeated over to A prime. Now, if I were to guess, so everything we've heard in this first minute has been A. I would call it A. Idea A, or set A. Now we are doing A prime. It's almost the exact same, but there is some sort of light variation. In this case, that radio that is playing these like super visceral sounds, right? So this is our second section. Depending on how this goes, considering what I know about music, if Miro is going to go for a more traditional approach in terms of structure, this is likely going to be what is called an AABA structure. So we're going to hear something very, very similar to what we just heard, and then we are going to move to something completely different, but still along the same veins. So, and then we're going to go back to that original sound at the start of the first minute and take it from there. And the good thing about this particular structure, it loops really easily, because then if you input this in the game audio, you have section A that plays, A prime, B, A, and when A ends, you can just tell the video game engine, hey, go back to A prime. We already had A, so just go back to A prime, and then you can have this loop infinitely until the section is over. So let's continue. Let's hear it. We have that tuba. I think it's a tuba. With, I think it's a snare. Very, very faint snare. There we go. We go back to the cello. It's also a little bit faster right now. This section is a little bit faster, which is another variation on the original theme. Let's hear it. This plays this "you're fucked" kind of theme. Lovely. Nice. Yeah, this sounds like something, like, functionally speaking, again, atonal music is something that I don't want to listen to. Like, I don't want to sit down and listen to an atonal piece for the sake of listening to an atonal piece. However, you put this when my character is low health, you fade away, like you fade and you blur most of the other sounds, and you have me with this, screen goes red. Yeah, this is gonna give you anxiety. Let's continue. So yeah, this is a repeat of A. It's gonna speed up. Let's see what is our change here. Okay. Okay. So I was wrong about the structure. Turns out the structure was a lot smaller than I expected. We had section A, which is the section with the tuba. Random stranger, welcome today. How you doing? We have section A, which is the section with the tuba. Boom, boom, super loud, super everything. We have the high pitch that serves as a transition, and then we have B with the double bass. Dennis Slayer, welcome to Layman. How you doing? B, and then we are going A prime. And from what I'm hearing, we might go to B prime. It was just that the structure was a lot smaller than I expected. So it's not minute-long structures. These are 30-ish seconds long each. Let's continue. Do this. Was it Friday? No, it's Saturday. There we go. Yeah, and the biggest change has been the sound in the radio in the back. The rest has stayed kind of the same. Let's hear it. So fade bad beepers are coming. Yep, there you go, and fades out, right? Which I am never a fan of a fade out. So yes, structurally, this was an A, B, A prime, B prime thing, which then, after the B prime, you can always loop it straight back to A. Guy Lorenz, welcome today, how you doing? So yes, turns out the structure was a lot shorter. Each individual section was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. But there you go. This is the overall structure of this piece. Very few elements here, because you had you had the radio, you had the trombone tuba with some percussion there, you had the double bass, and that was it. Extremely simple. This is a personal taste. This is part of a soundtrack. This is from what Rach said. To begin contest, poison and anxiety is a battle theme, usually against godly beings you face or something impossible to beat. So this is like big moment of fighting. So this is part of a video game, of course. And as I said, atonal music is not something that I would want to listen to sit down and just enjoy for the sake of enjoying. I need to associate it with something. And if you associate this, again, as I said, I would use this track to fade in when your character is low health in some sort of horror game. That's how I would do it. However, I have not played Fear and Hunger, which I think we will eventually. The list is an entirely different thing. But yeah, musically, very simple. Very simple. It was 2 notes played in the entire thing. The same note played by the cello and the trombone, and then the high pitch that transitions between the clips. And then the rest was sort of white noise, sort of not, from the radio. This is less is more. This is a lesson of less is more. And then the variations you give, the true progress of the track, was the radio and the changes in the static and the contents of the static. Mira had no training or practice making this OST for the game at this time, which, you know, says more about atonal music than it does about him. But this is really cool because he went with vibes for this, and the vibe I'm getting here is one of tension. This is a track that you use to build tension. Like, if you want to make this even more effective, you add subsonics. Subsonics being sounds that we can't hear but are still there. So stuff below 20 hertz. Visage is a really good game that uses those, from as far as I could tell, and they mess with your head. They give you tension. They tense you up. Even though you can't hear them, they are there. It's a very, very effective tool to increase tension. And yeah, Fear Hunters and Berserk and Silent Hill combined is usually what the fan base sees it as. Okay, so that gives us more context about this game. So yes, very artsy in that sense, but it also seems to have a very heavy purpose. And it's the kind of music, again, that you're not going to sit down and listen to because you enjoy the music. It's because you like what is happening in the game and how much this music enhances what is happening in the game, in the play, in the movie, in the film, whatever it is, right? It enhances whatever it is. Really good stuff. There you have it. That was Pulse and Anxiety from the Fear and Hunger OST, composed by Miro Haverinen. Really good stuff. Once again, we have decided to call these LFAs, Layman-Friendly Analysis. The Basterd's Layman-Friendly Analysis. You don't have to be a professional musician for you to understand what is happening, because my goal here is to explain it in a way that you can understand. If you like this video, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. You like the video, share it, all that good stuff. And if you want to request a song and you're not watching this on the live, leave a comment. Video game music only, because of copyright. And there we go. Make sure you follow all the places, join the Discord, and all that good stuff. We record these live on stream, so maybe you can hop on one of those. Until then, this was short and sweet. Sweet is probably not the word I would use for this, because it was very gut-wrenching kind of thing, but it was good. There you have it. That was Pulse and Anxiety from the Fear and Hunger OST. Good stuff. But yeah.